Welcome back. Here we have Brother Inovis NQ1700E. This is a embroidery machine. I just don't have the arm on it right now, but this came with the arm, so that's something that I'll be taking a look at. This one, they're saying it's having tension issues, so we're just going to go ahead and clean the whole machine and then see what we can find as we go. And without any further ado, let's get to the teardown. Alright, as we get into the teardown, I always like to use my favorite tool. So this is actually a new product. I used to sell this one, and actually upgraded to a different type of plastic that we're using now. That's a lot stronger. Still won't mar your finish on your machine, but if you notice, this one has been used for a while and it's got some frayed edges there, and I wasn't real happy with that, so I found this a little bit better product to use. So this, on these covers, you just kind of lift it up like this, comes right out, no problems there. And now we've got a bunch of screws to remove to get the rest off. Whenever you're looking at your machine, it's doing something weird, it's not making sense, you have tension issues, the first thing I'll do is I'll take out the bobbin case here, and I'll take a look at a few things on the bobbin case. So one is you want to see if there's any thread or dust that's built up around inside this area here. This is where the spring is that actually gives you your tension on that lower thread, and I don't see anything in this one. The tension seems awfully loose on this one, but sometimes that can be normal for a machine. It just depends on how that machine is set up. And then the other thing I want to look at, if you've been using this machine for a long time, you might see around the edge here where your bobbin sits, you might see a buildup of stuff, and you need to clean that off, because what that does is it gets gummy and it gets harder and harder for that bobbin to turn in there, and it actually gives you more tension than what you want on your lower thread. And that's one of those areas where you want to make sure you've cleaned that really well and make sure that there's no buildup there. Other things I want to look at on this bobbin is I'm going to look around here and see if I see any places where the needle has come in contact. We call those needle strikes, where a needle comes down and hits that bobbin and goes through it, and you'll see little holes. This one doesn't have any, so this one looks great, and it is not our culprit on this machine, but it is something to look at and to keep an eye on as you're figuring out what's wrong with your machine. Whoa! Alright, we found something wrong here. Let's take a look. So the first thing we looked at was our bobbin area when we have tension issues, and then here's the second thing that we're looking at now. And you see this right here, these are your tension discs, and this is what provides tension on that upper thread as it comes off your spool over here, comes up through here, and then it goes around underneath this right here, comes around, goes down here, through here. This is where, so you get your pre-tension here, then you get your tension here, and down in here you can see we've got a mess of thread that has been messing up our tension. So that's definitely something that we're going to work on as we get further into this machine, but just letting you know what we find as we go. By the way, now one thing I will say is I'm looking at this machine, and I don't know if you can see it, but if you look right in here, this looks pretty clean. So this person has been cleaning their machine to the areas that they can get to, but when you see the areas where you can't normally get to, that's where you've got buildup of material. But this is pretty clean underneath here in the hook area, which is a spot that you can get to on your own. So I didn't remove this screw here, but it's missing. So we might find an extra screw and put it in there for them. So the next thing you want to look for We got all the screws out, or at least we think we do, right? So you got to be cautious as you're tearing these machines apart. But we have, looks like we're released all around here, but then on this side you've got some clips underneath, and also on the inside you've got some clips, and that's where these pry tools help out. Okay, and then now, I think you can see, yeah, you can see right down in there. We have one connector, only 4 wires going to this front panel. So we're going to pull that off carefully. And there we go. So see how, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a brown stain on the inside. And let me tell you, if there was smell-o-vision right now, you'd be smelling the cigarettes. Okay, and in the back, we want to see if there's any screws holding the back plastics on. This can come out. Yep, so we've got one screw over here. Alright, we're looking around, so we already saw this. Y'all want me to pull it out, don't you? It's been dangling there this whole time since we saw it. I haven't done anything to it. Alright, we want to see if these just come out or if they're wrapped around in there somewhere, somehow. So we have 2 different colors. There's a peach color right there. And then we got like a light blue color. Okay, this one, there we go. He didn't want to let go very easily. Yeah, we've got a thread still stuck in there. Alright, so our tension is off right now. Well, actually, no. So, oh yeah, I can see. Alright, this is where I get my little pipe cleaner looking thing and run it in between those discs. Let's see what we get. Yeah, we got some good dust in there. Now we still have some thread up here in the top, so this little pre-tensioner up here also has some thread. Now you don't want to pull too hard, because if you pull it out and you don't get the whole piece, then you're not helping. Oh wow, that was bigger than I thought it would be. Now that we got it open, we're going to turn our machine a little bit. We're checking all these linkages up here. If there's thread in here, you might have thread in the linkages inside. And I'm not seeing any as I'm turning that around. A little bit of dust in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to vacuum this, and then after we vacuum, we're going to get out, I'm going to take it over to my air compressor. We're going to blow out all the rest of the dust that's in there, and then we'll bring it back here. Alright, we're back. Next step we want to do is lubricate. So I've got my oil that I use. This is lily white machine oil, or you know, it's known as mineral oil, and it's safe for you, it's safe for clothing because it doesn't stain it, and it also doesn't smell like anything. So hopefully it will help this machine that smells like an ashtray. So what I'm doing is, there's these bushings. There are 4 of them, 2 for the upper and 2 for the lower shaft. So I put a little dab of oil in each one of those, and then also the linkages here for our needle. And then I'll put a little bit on the bottom half of the needle bar and a little bit on the top half. Just a little dot. You don't need too much. You don't want this leaking oil all over somebody's project that they're most likely this is somebody who's charging someone for based on the amount of use that this machine sees. They're probably selling stuff online. So we got the two upper bushings, we got the linkages in the front, we got the oil, we got the needle bar. We need a little bit for the presser foot bar, just a tiny bit there, right by, there's a bushing up here too for that. And then our lower bushings. These bushings can cause problems, and they're considered to be permanently oiled. However, that's not the case. If you've ever gotten that E6 error on a Brother, it's because those bushings have gone bad. Now, one thing I always want to look at when I have a machine apart like this is our, a little bit of extra fuzz there. You want to look at the operation of your thread cutter, because these gears in here, some people like to grease those gears and I don't. In fact, I'll wipe off the grease if I see some there, because they're plastic, so they don't really need to be greased or lubricated. But also, that grease will, all those little fibers that you're making when every time you cut the threads gets stuck to that grease, and it just creates this big ball of gunk, and then your needle threader stops working. And some machines, this can cause the machine to act really weird depending on how your thread cutter works. So I'm moving this and it feels great. We're just kind of manually causing that thread cutter to move. See how it's come out there, and now it's coming back. So that feels pretty good. What I'll do is, while it's fully to the right, I'll just wipe this off here. So this is a little plastic piece, and again, I don't grease plastic pieces because they're meant to be a nice soft area for that thread cutter to move back and forth on. Okay, and then we want to run this. This is how your machine operates the thread tension. So that's their tension lifted up. So that's up. You have no tension on your discs, and then as it goes, you get more and more tension. See how it's compressing that spring? So this thing can adjust its tension by turning this little motor back here. So I use crud cutter. I just buy it by the gallon and fill up these bottles. In case you were wondering what kind of cleaner I use, and if you look at that, it's melting away all that cigarette tar. The less work I have to do, the better, right? So now that we're doing a little cleaning, I know you've been wondering where I've been, and this is my first video back and I haven't said anything about it. So for those of you that are watching this and wondering where I've been, this will be your answer. For those of you not, and I'll just fast forward this part, I guess. So I've recorded this video talking to you a couple times now and haven't really gotten it. The videos seem as just me talking to a camera is really boring, so and then I would find something to talk about and I'd talk about what I'm selling, and I was like, well, that's more like me doing an ad instead of being honest to you, telling you what's going on. So I decided I would just clean a machine and tell you what's going on. Really, the answer is nothing. So there's nothing wrong with me or my family. Health is fine. We're all doing great. My wife's doing great. She's got a great job working as an engineer at a company. My two daughters are doing great. They're both in high school now. I am a band dad, so we are very involved in the marching band, concert band programs at the high school. Since I have all this camera equipment that I've gotten over the years of doing this YouTube thing, I record all the performances for our high school. So there's a lot going on there behind the scenes that keeps me busy, and things that I really enjoy to do. You know, if you've watched me for a while, you know that I retired from the Navy a few years back, and almost 5 years now. And so as a retired person, I figured YouTube would be what I wanted to do when I grew up. But then it started turning into a job, and I felt kind of obligated that I had to post, and then editing videos became a chore, and it wasn't something I was enjoying doing. But I did enjoy repairing sewing machines for people, so I haven't stopped doing that. I just stopped recording it and uploading it to YouTube. Meanwhile, I'm loading all kinds of videos for the high school onto YouTube for all of our parents to watch, and extended families and everybody. So I never really gave up on the skill, and I knew I'd post again sometime, so I'm coming back now. And then here's where the salesy part of it comes in. I've also been working on my website and kind of trying to add more products, things that you can't find anywhere else. That's my goal, is to help people keep their machines back in service by providing parts that you just can't find anywhere anymore. We've got parts to dress up your vintage sewing machines. I've got parts to keep some more modern, like electronic machines with touchscreens, but they're old now. And so I was able to work with a company to reproduce some touchscreens for some old machines. So those are going to be for sale here shortly. Probably by the time this video is up, it'll already be on there. So if you have a Designer SE, you know, the Husqvarna Viking machine that everybody loves, but it has some issues with flashing light of death and that sort of thing. I've got repair kits for that, but I've also got a new touchscreen for that. So the touchscreen is the clear part. So if you have weird colors on your screen, it's not going to help for that. This is just the touchscreen, the clear part that you touch and interact with. So if that's not working right, or if you cracked it because you dropped your machine or dropped something into your machine, this is the fix for that. So Designer SE, the Designer 1, the Designer 2 as well, and then also the Baby Lock Asante, or ESE machine. I've got it for that. And the Bernina 180, and I believe it's what, 165, 170, 180, 185. I believe those machines. I'll have to verify exactly what they fit, because I only have a 180, so I haven't tested it on the others as of yet. If any of you have a Bernina 180 or of that family, and you have the problem with cataracts on your screen, your LCD screen, I actually have that. So I have a couple of those on my website as well. And I'll have separate videos for all these things that I'm talking about. So anyway, that's the update. And I think I will be posting again here on YouTube. I'm not sure that it'll be weekly, but I will be posting more on YouTube because I kind of do enjoy it. The one thing that I don't enjoy, and it's tough for me to kind of convey this because it lets some people down when I say it, but I'm not able to provide assistance for people over the internet. So I only work on machines that I can see and touch and feel. If somebody said, hey, my machine, the tension is off and I'm trying to do embroidery, I could, I have videos that'll show you what to check, and that's what I recommend, is check out some of those videos, because I would not have known to tell somebody to check right in there and see if there's dust, or thread stuck in there, and tell them over the phone how to tear apart their machine to get to it. That's not something that's feasible. And you think about the number of hours that it would take for me to do that. And the people that are asking typically are not, they're just trying to get free advice. And I've got a kid that's going to college in a year from now, a year plus. So I got to pay the bills, if you know what I mean. Alright, we got our machine all cleaned up, all lubed up. We're ready to put it back together and see how it works. We found issues with a whole bunch of thread where it shouldn't be. So let's give her a try. So this machine is a lot whiter than it was. It was very dingy looking. Hopefully it'll show up on the before and after. Maybe it'll see. Alright, we're going to leave that right there. I was not able to improve the smell of the machine. Maybe you could spray some perfume or something in there, but then it'll smell like my aunt used to. And really, nobody wants that. Don't tear me apart if you see a little dirt here and there. This whole outside of the machine is going to be cleaned again once it's all put together. If you do it right, it just kind of falls into place. So these two little sections right here need to be in the right slots, and then the top just kind of went right into place. So if you remember, we had one screw in the back. Let's try that again. See what happens when I'm not paying attention, I'm talking. Oh man, just done it. Alright, so we got all the clips together, and now it's time for the rest. Now it's time for my secret weapon that I use. This 303 aerospace protectant is what I use on all the machines, and gives the plastic, kind of rejuvenates the plastic and makes it look all shiny and new again, and it even feels soft. I don't know how to explain it, but it does. And so didn't take a whole lot. So yeah, I'm a rookie YouTuber, so it helps when you turn on your cameras. So what we just did was we ran the machine, and I like to do an O because it gives you a couple of different curves. And what we did was we started and we noticed that our tension was way off. So you see how you've got the yellow or the white coming through. So what I did was we have white thread on the bobbin, and then we had black thread on the top. Up here we had a black thread on the top. And so we started out, we knew our tension was way off. And in fact, when I first pulled out the bobbin case, I noticed that it was really loose for the thread tension. So I adjusted that, and then we went around and finished the rest of the O. And then on the back side, what we ended up with is just about perfect, because you want it to be 60 to 80% of the bottom thread showing. And if you look here on this corner down here, you have about 60%, and then if you look up on this corner, or this around here, you have about 80%. So we are right in that sweet spot, and that's why I like to do an O, because it gives you all the curves around in that circle. And it gives you, because if I just looked at curves that were going this way, I might adjust it to loosen that bobbin tension and give us more. But if you look up here now, that's like 80-ish%. So that I may have adjusted to go down. So now that I know I have this much and this much, depending on where we're going in the circle, I'm happy with that. So it looks really good. But you want to see this thing operate, so I'm going to hook it up. We're going to do another one so that you can see it, at least a little bit of it, because you don't want to do all this cleaning and everything and not even see the machine operate. Here we go for round 2. So I like to cut my tail of thread once we get going a little bit. Oh, puppies are going crazy. I wonder if somebody's at the front door. And here we go. So what we tested here, we got the needle threader works, we got the thread cutter works, we got the embroidery works. Got a nice O there. And if we look at the back, look at that. Very consistent with the one we did before. Very happy with that tension. So there we go. Yeah, you thought I forgot. Well, here's your before and after. If you look at the before, you'll see all the brown nastiness in there. And now the after, it looks beautiful. Looks very nice, brand new.